You know that feeling, right, when you're listening to people chatting away in English and then, bang, they use some phrase and you're just completely lost.
Oh, totally. And there's a secret code or something.
Exactly. Like everyone else got the memo. It can be a real hurdle, can it? Whether you're prepping for a meeting or just trying to follow along.
Yeah, or even just curious about the language. It's not just the words themselves, is it? It's these little phrases, the idioms.
The idioms, yeah. These colorful bits native speakers just throw around.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We got hold of this great English-speaking course PDF.
Right.
What if you actually sent it in, which is fantastic.
Oh, nice.
It's full of everyday chats, but the key thing is it really zeroes in on those tricky little things, idioms, where the meaning isn't obvious just looking at the words.
Right. So our mission, basically, is to unpack these, make them make sense.
So you can feel more comfortable whether you're just listening or jumping into the conversation yourself.
And what's cool about using a real course text like this is that it's grounded in how people actually talk, not just some dry textbook stuff.
Exactly. Real life examples. So we're planning to take our time, really dig into the meanings, hopefully give you some of those aha moments.
Yeah, without completely overloading you. Sound good.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so where does this course actually start? What's the first scenario?
It kicks off with daily life stuff. Very relatable. The first bit is about making plans, or maybe not making plans.
Ah, the classic dilemma, structure versus just going with the flow.
Precisely. That tension.
Okay, so how does the conversation go?
It starts super simple. So what's the plan for today? Standard question.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. And the answer?
Equally casual. I don't have a plan yet. Let's just play it by ear.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
Play it by ear. That's a big one, isn't it? Really common. Perfect starting point for us.
It really is. It basically means you decide as you go along, you see how things develop, adapt to the situation. No fixed schedule.
Right, like improvising.
Exactly. Improvising.
Yeah.
It implies flexibility, being open.
Yeah.
And in a lot of informal situations, especially in English-speaking cultures, that's seen as like a positive thing. You're not too rigid.
Yeah, flexible, easygoing. But the dialogue then immediately pokes at the other side. Right.
It does. The next line is something like, so no schedule, just pure chaos then.
Yeah. And the response.
Enthusiastic agreement. Exactly. Which is funny because it captures that divide perfectly.
Totally. Some people love that freedom. Others need the plan. It really touches on different personalities, maybe even cultural approaches to planning.
That's a really interesting point. Some cultures are very plan-oriented, others much more fluid.
Yeah.
And playing it by ear definitely fits that fluid side.
Right, sure.
And the dialogue kind of hints at the possibilities, doesn't it?
Mm.
Maybe something amazing happens because you were spontaneous, or maybe not so great. It's a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, the thrill of the unknown. But like you said, context matters.
Oh, absolutely.
You probably wouldn't tell your boss you're going to play it by ear for that huge client pitch.
Probably not the best move, no. Might want a bit more structure there.
Okay, so that's handling plans, or lack thereof. Where does the course go next? Feels like a shift is coming.
Yep, quite a shift. From casual plans to exam stress.
Oh boy, been there.
Right. So we have Jake talking to his friend, who's clearly freaking out.
Let me guess the line. Something about their brain exploding.
You got it. I have 3 exams next week. I feel like my brain is going to explode. Very relatable feeling of being overwhelmed.
Totally. What does Jake say? Does he try to lighten the mood?
He does, yeah. His first attempt is, at least let it explode after you finish your coffee.
And how does that go down?
Not well. The friend just says, not funny.
Ouch. Yeah, timing is everything with humor when someone's stressed.
Exactly. So Jake switches tactics, gets more supportive, and uses another key idiom. Hey, hang in there. You always freak out before exams, and then you do great.
Ah, hang in there. Another classic encouragement phrase.
Super common. But this is where the course really highlights the confusion idioms can cause.
How so? Does the friend not get it?
Nope. The friend replies literally, hang in there. What does that even mean? Like, where am I supposed to hang?
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that perfectly illustrates the problem, doesn't it? The literal meaning versus the idiomatic one.
Absolutely. It's got nothing to do with physically hanging. Hang in there just means, don't give up. Keep going. Persevere.
Stick with it. You'll get through it. That kind of thing.
Exactly. It's meant to show support, solidarity. You'd use it for someone facing any tough situation, really. A difficult project, personal stuff.
And that literal question, where am I supposed to hang? it just slams home how abstract these phrases are. You need that shared context.
You really do. It's not something you can just look up word for word.
And it shows the stress, too. The friend is maybe too wrapped up in anxiety to even register the intended meaning.
Yeah, and they even say something like, easy for you to say you're not the one drowning in formulas and essays.
Oof. That feeling of isolation when you're stressed, like
Yeah.
nobody really gets it.
It's so true. Empathy is key. Jake does try again, though, with more practical advice.
What does he suggest?
Something like, just focus on one exam at a time. You've studied hard, you'll be fine. Which is, solid advice. Break it down.
Definitely. Good advice for any overwhelming task. Okay, so exams.
Hmm.
What's the next source of stress the course tackles?
One that unites us all in the modern age. Technology frustrations. Specifically, phone updates.
Oh, I can feel the collective sigh already. Let me guess. Why did they change the button again?
Pretty much. It starts with that exact kind of lament. Why do they keep changing everything? I just want to make a call. Is that too much to ask?
The eternal question. Things were working fine.
Right. And then someone, Mark, tries to be helpful, but maybe a bit dismissive. He says, Mark, it's not rocket science. Just swipe up and tap the phone icon.
It's not rocket science. Okay, another idiom, meaning it's supposed to be easy.
Supposed to be, yeah. But like you said earlier, it often misses the real point of the frustration.
Which isn't usually that it's hard, it's that it's different. Again.
Exactly. It's the constant relearning of basic things. That feeling of the rug being pulled out from under you with every single update.
Totally. Does the dialogue get into that?
It does, yeah. There's a great bit about someone's grandma who still uses a flip phone.
Oh, I love those anecdotes. What's her reasoning?
Simple logic. She was born before Wi-Fi. She knows how to text. She doesn't need 50 updates to do it. Why fix what isn't broken?
Brilliant. Simpler is sometimes smarter, right? Less hassle.
It really makes you wonder about all the so-called improvements. And the dialogue touches on that with a question like, why do I need facial recognition just to check the weather?
Huh. Feature creep. Adding stuff just because they can, not because anyone asked for it.
Exactly. And there's a little joke in there, too, about the phone refusing to unlock if you look terrible first thing in the morning.
Relatable. These advancements can definitely feel like more trouble than they're worth sometimes.
And it even throws in that little joking conspiracy theory.
Let me guess. Planned obsolescence. They want us to buy new phones.
Bingo. Said with a laugh, but there's that underlying feeling many people have about the constant upgrade cycle.
Yeah, feeling like you're always chasing the latest update, the newest model. Okay, so tech woes. What's the last scenario in this first part?
The final one is being late. Specifically, late for a movie.
Ah, the frantic dash, the mumbled excuses. We all know this scene. It starts with someone stating the obvious.
Yep. Tom, the movie started 15 minutes ago. Direct. To the point.
And Tom's excuse? Traffic. Train delay. Lost keys.
The classic train delay. I know, but the train was delayed.
Of course, but the friend doesn't buy it.
Not for a second, they call him out. You left your flat 5 minutes before the movie started, didn't you?
Huh. Busted. So Tom's caught. What does he say then? Tries to smooth it over.
He goes for the classic justification idiom. Hey, better late than never, right?
The ultimate fallback for tardiness. Super common phrase. Trying to put a positive spin on it.
Exactly. But his friend's reaction is, well, not positive.
Oh, what do they say?
They start with, I hate when people say that.
Whoa. Strong reaction.
Yeah, and then they give this surprisingly logical reason. It's true. Imagine if I didn't show up at all. That would be better. At least then I wouldn't have to sit in the front row like a maniac.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. And so true. The front row struggle is real. It completely flips better late than never on its head.
It really does.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the consequence of being late, like neck ache from the front row, makes you wish you had just stayed home.
Especially as the dialogue mentions, for a rom-com on an IMAX screen, the sheer scale of the emotional close-ups.
Exactly. The hyperbole about neck pain and emotional trauma really drives home that better late than never isn't always a comfort. Context is everything.
So these first few conversations, they really set the stage, don't they? Showing idioms in action in everyday messy situations.
Absolutely. They provide that natural context, the backdrop for why understanding these phrases is so useful. It's how people really communicate frustrations, humor, excuses, and all.
Right. Okay, so after setting the scene, the course then starts to focus on specific idioms one by one.
Yeah, it pulls out key phrases and gives them a bit more of a spotlight, explaining the meaning and giving examples.
Makes sense. So let's dive into those specifics. What's the first idiom it tackles directly?
First up is the ball's in your court.
Okay, yeah, I hear that one quite a bit. Usually about decisions, right?
Exactly. The example scenario is someone deciding about a job offer. Leaving a safe but maybe boring job for something new, that classic crossroads moment.
Yeah, tough choice.
And their friend says something like, well, the ball's in your court. You have the options. You just have to decide.
Okay, so what's the core meaning there? The ball's in your court.
It means it's your turn to take action. The responsibility to make the next move, the next decision, lies with you.
Like in tennis, when the ball lands on your side, you have to hit it back.
Precisely that analogy. Others might have given advice, laid out options, but now the onus is on you. It implies both opportunity you can act and responsibility you need to act.
Gotcha. The power and the burden of choice, all in one phrase.
Pretty much. The explanation in the text says, it just means it's your decision to make. No one else can do it for you. Puts it squarely on that person.
Clear. Okay, what's the next one on the list?
Next is, pull yourself together.
Ooh.
This one can sound a bit abrupt sometimes.
Yeah, it feels like it carries a bit of urgency. Or maybe impatience.
It can, yeah. The example is a breakup scene. Sophie's really upset she got dumped by text.
Ouch. Rough.
Definitely. And her friend Claire takes a pretty direct approach, saying, Sophie, you need to pull yourself together. It's just a breakup.
Okay, so pull yourself together means like calm down, get a grip.
Exactly. Regain control of your emotions, stop being hysterical or overly upset, try to act more rationally.
But like you said, it can sound harsh, can't it? Depending on the tone.
It really can. It might come across as unsympathetic, even if the person means well. It's a very bracing piece of advice.
Yeah, not always what you want to hear when you're upset. Does the dialogue add any color to Sophie's state?
It does. There's this wonderfully vivid detail about her cappuccino being salty from her tears.
Oh, wow. That paints a picture. Okay, so that's pulling yourself together. Moving from emotional pain to maybe just being tired. Next is hit the sack.
Yep, hit the sack. Straightforward one.
That means go to bed, right? Go to sleep.
Exactly. The scenario is after a long evening, maybe seeing a show on Broadway, and someone says they're exhausted.
Yeah.
Same here. The friend says, I think I'm going to hit the sack. Just a very casual, common way to say you're off to bed.
And again, the literal image is weird, isn't it? Punching a bag?
Totally. But the origin is apparently quite literal.
Oh, yeah. So
back in the day, mattresses weren't like they are now. They were often just sack stuffed with straw or whatever.
Ah, so you literally did hit the sack when you lay down on it.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
So now it's just stuck around as this informal way to say, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep.
Cool origin story. Okay, next phrase. Call it a day. This feels work-related, like stopping work.
Spot on. The example is said in an office, late in the evening. Someone looks at the clock and says, it's almost 9 p.m. I think we should call it a day.
Makes sense. Time to stop. But there's disagreement.
There is, yeah. Someone else pushes back. Call it a day. We still have work to do. Which highlights that calling it a day isn't always a unanimous decision.
True. One person's stopping point is another's still got loads to do. So the basic meaning is just stop doing whatever you're doing for the day.
Yeah, stop working on a task or project for the remainder of the day. It implies you've reached a suitable stopping point, or it's just gotten too late.
Okay.
The explanation says it means we should stop working and go home. And there's a funny aside in the dialogue about the boss having already left and someone else secretly watching cat videos.
Huh. The hidden realities of the office after hours. Very relatable. Okay, next up. Cut to the chase. This sounds impatient.
It often is, yeah. It means get to the point, stop wasting time on unimportant details.
Okay, and the scenario.
Two people trying to choose a rental car. One person is taking forever, weighing up tiny details, and the other one's losing patience.
We've all been that impatient person in line behind someone indecisive.
Totally. So the impatient one says, Sophie, just pick something. We don't have all day. Let's cut to the chase. A clear plea for speed.
Get to the important part, make the decision. Where does cut to the chase come from? It sounds like movies.
It is. It's thought to originate from early filmmaking. Directors would tell editors to literally cut the boring dialogue scenes and get straight to the exciting chase scene.
Ah, makes perfect sense. Keep the action going. So in conversation, it means skip the fluff, get to the main point.
Exactly. And the dialogue adds that little image of the impatient person sighing dramatically, maybe muttering about needing a neck pillow for the wait, adds a bit of humor to the frustration.
Nice touch. Okay, next phrase. Speak of the devil. I know this one. It's when you're talking about someone and then they suddenly appear.
That's it exactly. Perfect timing, uncanny coincidence.
Yeah, the example is probably friends chatting about someone being late.
Yep, they're talking about Olivia, maybe wondering where she is, and boom, Olivia walks in right then.
And someone says,
Speak of the devil, often said with a bit of a laugh like, wow, we were just mentioning you.
and the person who appears is usually a bit confused, right? Like Olivia in the dialogue asking, what's that supposed to mean?
Exactly. Requires that quick explanation. Oh, we were just talking about you.
Mhm.
Acknowledges the funny coincidence.
Okay, cool. Now for one that sounds a bit more intense, bite the bullet. This implies facing something unpleasant.
It does. Facing something difficult or painful with courage and stoicism. Enduring it.
Okay, and the example. Probably something people dread.
Yep, the dentist. Daniel is scared of getting a filling. Very common fear.
Understandable.
And his friend tries to encourage him, maybe a bit bluntly, saying, oh, stop being dramatic and bite the bullet. Basically, just face it, get it over with.
Right. Be brave about it. The origin of this one is pretty grim, isn't it?
It really is. It's believed to come from surgery on battlefields, before proper anesthesia. Soldiers would apparently bite down hard on a lead bullet to cope with the extreme pain.
Wow. Yeah, that really conveys the meaning of enduring something awful. Makes a dental filling seem less terrifying in comparison.
Definitely puts it in perspective. And Daniel in the dialogue sort of gets the gist, saying it means being brave even when scared.
And the friend uses that classic tactic of mentioning something worse.
Yep. It's better than a root canal,
Mm-hmm.
trying to make the filling seem like the lesser of two evils.
Classic. Okay, that's a heavy one. Let's shift to something lighter. Stop and smell the roses. Sounds like advice to relax.
Exactly. Take a break, appreciate the simple things in life, slow down.
And the scenario. Someone working too hard.
Yep, Elena is buried in homework, hasn't looked up all day. Her friend advises her, you need to stop and smell the roses.
And Elena's literal response is,
Smell the roses. Where did you buy roses? Perfect idiom confusion again.
it's great how these examples keep highlighting that literal figurative gap. So it's not about actual roses.
Nope. The explanation clarifies. No, it means take a moment to enjoy things, like step away from your computer and breathe. It's about mindfulness, appreciating the present, avoiding burnout.
Really important advice in today's world. Okay, what's next? Miss the boat. Sounds like missing out on something.
That's exactly it. Missing an opportunity because you were too late.
And the example.
Chloe finds out about a time management workshop only after it's already finished. The irony.
Oh dear. Perfect setup. And her friend says,
Oh man, you missed the boat on that one. And Chloe, naturally, asks, missed the boat. What boat?
love it. So no actual boat involved, just a lost opportunity.
Right. The friend explains it wasn't a real boat, just her chance to improve her time management skills was gone. It emphasizes being aware and acting promptly.
Gotcha. Okay, how about bite off more than you can chew? Sounds like taking on too much responsibility.
That's precisely it. Overloading yourself, taking on a task or commitment that's too big to handle.
And the example. Someone overwhelmed.
Yeah. Ethan has taken on way too many parts of her project and is drowning in tasks. His friend Sarah sees this and says, "Whoa, sounds like you bit off more than you can chew."
And Ethan's literal response, let me guess. I'm not eating anything.
You're getting good at this. Yes. I'm not eating anything.
It's such a great visual metaphor, isn't it? Trying to stuff too much food in your mouth at once. Impossible to manage.
Exactly. So the idiom captures that feeling of being overwhelmed by the sheer volume of something you've taken on.
And Sarah gives good advice afterwards.
She does. She suggests maybe asking for help, delegating, trying not to burn out, which is the logical next step when you realize you've bitten off too much.
Accessible. Okay, next. Break the ice. This is a social one, right? Making people feel comfortable.
Exactly. Used when you want to ease the initial awkwardness or formality in a social situation, especially with new people.
And the scenario. A stiff meeting.
Yep. Jason's describing a meeting with new clients that started out very quiet and formal. His friend asks, "Did you try to break the ice?"
And Jason's literal take, something about frozen water.
You guessed it. Try to break the ice. You mean the ice cubes in their drinks.
It just works every time.
Yeah.
So the real meaning is to initiate conversation, do something friendly to get people talking and relax.
Right. Make the atmosphere less frosty. The dialogue suggests simple things like asking about their weekend or the classic British topic, the weather.
Safe bets, but it cautions against jokes.
It does, yeah, because a joke that falls flat can make things even more awkward. Best to tread carefully sometimes.
Good point. Okay, moving to accuracy. Hit the nail on the head, meaning you got something exactly right.
Precisely. You identify the problem or stated the truth perfectly.
And the example, feedback on something.
Yeah, discussing a presentation. One person feels something isn't quite right, and the other pinpoints the issue. The first person responds, "You hit the nail on the head, that's exactly the problem." Strong agreement, perfect identification.
And the literal question comes up again, what nail?
Of course. Leading to the explanation, it's like hitting a nail perfectly square with a hammer. Direct, accurate, effective. It's a great way to say you're absolutely right.
Makes sense. Okay, what about expense? Costs an arm and a leg, means very, very expensive.
Extremely expensive. It's hyperbole, an exaggeration to emphasize the high cost.
And the example, something fancy.
Linda got a super fancy new coffee machine. Her friend remarks, "Wow, that looks amazing. It probably cost an arm and a leg."
And Linda or someone asks about giving up actual limbs.
Naturally, an arm and a leg, what does that mean?
Leading to the explanation that it's just a way of saying something is incredibly costly.
Like you almost had to sacrifice body parts to afford it.
Exactly. The dialogue then humorously applies it to something like rent in a big city.
Ah, yes, a universally understood example of something costing an arm and a leg.
Sadly true. Okay, next. A blessing in disguise. This is about something that seems bad initially, but turns out good.
Right. A hidden benefit in a negative situation. What's the scenario?
A broken office printer. Definitely annoying at first. For sure, a nightmare.
But because the printer broke, they had to call IT, who then discovered the real problem was the ancient, slow office network.
Ah, so the printer breaking led to a bigger fix.
Exactly. They ended up replacing the whole network, resulting in much faster internet for everyone. So the broken printer, the initial pain, was actually a blessing in disguise.
Nice example. It encourages looking for the silver lining, though the dialogue adds a little caveat.
It does, yeah. A wry comment that maybe not everyone agrees the new internet is actually faster. Sometimes the blessing is subjective.
Always someone who preferred the old way. Okay, what's next? Take it easy. Sounds like simple advice. Relax.
It is. Very common, casual way to tell someone not to work too hard or stress out.
And the example, someone overworking.
Yep. Liam sees his colleague Clara working nonstop, looking stressed, and says, "Hey, you should take it easy for a bit."
And Claire's literal interpretation.
Take it easy. How do you take something easy? Like it's a physical object.
Perfect. So the meaning is just chill out, relax, don't overdo it.
Exactly. And the follow-up advice in the dialogue reinforces this. Maybe take a proper break. Step away. Look after yourself.
Good advice. Okay, next. Once in a blue moon. This means very rarely.
Very rarely, almost never, something that happens extremely infrequently.
And the example, a surprising event.
Dan, who apparently isn't great at algebra, gets an A plus M.
Shot.
Okay, definitely rare for Dan then.
So his friend comments, wow, an A plus A, this happens once in a blue moon, right? Which naturally leads to the question.
What's a blue moon?
Exactly. And the explanation that it's just a figure of speech for rarity, though it does connect to the astronomical phenomenon.
Oh yeah, there actually is a blue moon.
There is. It's the term for the second full moon occurring within the same calendar month, which doesn't happen very often. So the idiom has a nice link to a real rare event.
That's cool. Adds a bit more flavor than just saying rarely. Okay, what else? Keep your chin up. Another encouragement phrase.
Yep, similar to hang in there, but maybe more focused on staying optimistic, maintaining a positive attitude. Right. And the scenario, someone feeling down.
Sophia's feeling discouraged after getting rejected from several jobs. Understandable.
Yeah, that stuff.
And her friend Mark tries to lift her spirits. But keep your chin up, Sophia. You'll get through it.
And Sophia's literal take, pointing her chin skyward.
You got it. Keep my chin up. Like this. Demonstrating the physical action. Highlighting again how non-literal these phrases are.
So the meaning is just stay hopeful, don't let it get you down, be resilient.
Exactly. Maintain your optimism despite setbacks. Okay, next. Cry over spilled milk. Meaning, don't worry about things that are done and can't be changed.
Right, no point getting upset about past mistakes you can't fix. What's the example?
Emma accidentally sent the wrong file for an important project. She's panicking.
Oops, easily done.
Her colleague Jake advises her, "Hey Emma, don't cry over spilled milk." And Emma immediately asks,
Did someone spill milk?
Precisely. The literal image spilled milk that you can't unspill is the key. It's done. Move on.
So Jake's telling her to focus on fixing it, not dwelling on the mistake.
Exactly. His next line is practical. Just fix it and send the right one. Focus on the solution, not the past problem.
Good advice. Okay, After milk. How about fire? Add fuel to the fire, making things worse.
Yes, making a bad situation even worse, usually by saying or doing something inflammatory or unhelpful, intensifying conflict or negativity.
And the scenario. An argument.
Sort of.
Hmm.
Greg is presenting an idea he already feels insecure about. Then someone else criticizes it very bluntly in front of everyone.
Ouch. Kicking him while he's down.
Exactly. That blunt public criticism is described as adding fuel to the fire because it just makes Greg's insecurity and the negativity around his idea much worse.
It's a strong image throwing gasoline on flames. Really shows the impact.
It does. And it underlines the importance of tact. The dialogue suggests maybe delivering that criticism privately would have been much better.
Definitely. Public criticism rarely helps. Okay, moving on to a very famous one. Actions speak louder than words. What you do matters more than what you say.
That's the essence of it. Proof is in the pudding, or rather the action.
And the context. A promise.
Preparing for a client presentation, Hannah reminds her colleague Ryan that simply telling the client how great they are isn't enough.
They need proof.
Exactly. She says showing them a real sample of their work, demonstrating their capability, will be far more convincing. The action, showing the work, speaks louder than the words, claiming competence.
Makes perfect sense. Show, don't just tell. Okay, how about time flies?
Oh yeah, simple but universal. Time passes surprisingly quickly, especially when you're busy or having fun.
And the example, studying.
Rob is studying with a friend, gets absorbed, looks up, and he's shocked to see how late it is. Wow, is it midnight already? Time flies.
Yep. We've all been there. Lost track of time completely. Okay, next. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. This sounds like risk management advice.
It is. Don't rely solely on one option, one plan, one investment. Diversify.
Because if that one thing fails...
You lose everything.
Yeah.
Exactly. The advice in the example is about having backup plans, spreading your resources or hopes. Don't depend entirely on plan A.
Sensible strategy in many areas of life, not just finance. Okay, now for a really weird one. Break a leg means good luck, but sounds like the opposite.
It's totally counterintuitive, isn't it? The example is Lena wishing Ryan good luck before he runs a marathon. She tells him, break a leg.
And Ryan is understandably very confused. Break a leg? Why would you say that?
Exactly. It highlights how bizarre it sounds literally, but it's a traditional theatrical way of wishing good luck.
Why, though? Where does it come from?
The origins are a bit murky, debated. One theory is superstition saying the opposite of what you want, like good luck, is considered bad luck in theater, so you say break a leg instead, hoping for the opposite.
Okay, theatrical superstition.
Another theory is that a really successful performance would lead to so many curtain calls, the actors would bow so much they'd metaphorically break the line of their leg.
Ah, interesting. So it's tied to success, and people use it outside theater now.
Yeah, you hear it sometimes for any challenging performance or event, like Ryan's marathon. It's quirky.
Definitely quirky. Okay, from quirky to impossible. When pigs fly.
Means never, right? Absolutely not going to happen. Pure impossibility.
Got it. And the example. A ridiculous suggestion.
A rumor going around the office that they might start getting Fridays off. Someone reacts skeptically. Yeah, right. When pigs fly.
Perfect response.
Yeah.
The image itself, pigs soaring through the sky, just screams, never gonna happen.
Exactly. Very effective, often humorous, way to dismiss something utterly unbelievable. Okay, moving from impossible to exceptional effort. Go the extra mile.
Means doing more than required, making a special effort.
Precisely. Exceeding expectations, putting in additional work to achieve a better result or make a better impression.
And the context. A project.
Chris is working on a presentation and someone encourages him to really polish it, add more details, maybe some extra research. Go the extra mile to make it outstanding.
Right, that extra bit of effort that makes the difference. Okay, next. On thin ice. Sounds dangerous.
It implies a risky, precarious situation. You're in trouble or close to getting into trouble and need to be careful.
Like you could fall through at any moment.
Exactly that image. The example is Jim, who's supposed to finish a report, hasn't done it, and keeps putting it off. He's now on thin ice with his boss.
Yeah, his position is fragile. One more mistake and he's in deep trouble. A clear warning sign.
Definitely. Okay, what about revealing secrets? Spill the beans.
Means letting a secret out, right? Often
No.
accidentally.
Yes, exactly. Disclosing information that was supposed to be confidential. The example is Ryan talking about a surprise party.
And he accidentally reveals it to the person it's for.
Yep. He blurts something out and then realizes his mistake. Oh, no, I wasn't supposed to tell you. I spilled the beans.
Classic.
Yeah.
Like the beans were contained and now they're scattered everywhere. The secret's out.
Good analogy. Okay, nearly there. How about jump on the bandwagon?
Joining something just because it's popular or trendy.
List.
Next one is pull yourself together.
Ooh, that one sounds a bit forceful, like telling someone to snap out of it.
It can definitely come across that way.
Oh.
It has a real sense of urgency. The example is a breakup scene.
Okay.
Sophie's really upset she got dumped via text message.
Ouch. Not cool.
Definitely not. And her friend Claire takes a pretty direct approach. She says, Sophie, you need to pull yourself together. It's just a breakup.
Wow. Okay, so pull yourself together means calm down, get control of your emotions.
Essentially, yes. Stop being overly emotional. Try to regain composure. Act more rationally.
But it can sound harsh, can't it?
Yeah.
Depending on the tone and the situation.
It absolutely can. It might sound unsympathetic, even if you don't mean it to. It highlights different ways people react to emotional distress and how others try to help. Claire's method is bracing.
Bracing is a good word. Does the dialogue add any color to Sophie's distress?
It does mention her cappuccino tasting salty from her tears.
Oh, that's a vivid image. Darkly humorous almost. Really paints the picture of how upset she is.
It does.
Okay, so moving from emotional turmoil to maybe just being tired, the next idiom is hit the sack.
Oh, yes. Definitely about being tired.
Sounds like go to bed, go to sleep.
That's exactly it. The context is after a long, maybe exciting evening, seeing a Broadway show in the example, someone says they're exhausted.
And the other person agrees.
Yeah. Says, same here. I think I'm going to hit the sack. It's just a very casual, common way to say you're off to bed.
And again, the literal meaning is completely different, isn't it? Actually punching a sack.
Right. Which makes you wonder where it came from.
Does the course say?
It does, apparently. It goes back to when mattresses weren't like they are now. They were literally sacks.
Like bags?
Yeah, big sacks stuffed with straw or leaves or whatever people used back then.
Wow. So you literally did sort of hit the sack when you went to bed.
Seems like it. You'd kind of flop down onto your sack, so now it's just a relaxed way to say, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep.
That's a cool origin. Makes sense. Okay, next. Call it a day.
Right. This one sounds like stopping work or some kind of activity.
Yeah, finishing up.
You got it. The scenario is a workplace. It's getting late, maybe 9 p.m.
Long day.
Yeah. And someone suggests, it's almost 9 p.m. I think we should call it a day.
Makes sense. But there's disagreement.
There is. Someone else replies, call it a day. We still have work to do.
Ah. Which highlights that deciding when a day is called can be subjective.
Exactly. One person feels they've reached a starting point, the other doesn't.
So the basic meaning is just stop working on this particular thing for today.
Pretty much. Stop what you're doing for the day. Go home. Finish up. It implies you've reached a reasonable stopping point, or it's just time to finish.
And the dialogue adds a bit of workplace reality.
It does. A little humor about the boss having already left, and maybe someone else sneakily watching cat videos while claiming they still have work.
Huh. Very relatable office dynamics. Okay, what's next? Cut to the chase.
Right. This one feels impatient, like get to the point.
Yeah, stop beating around the bush.
Spot on. The example involves choosing a rental car. One person is taking ages deliberating.
We've all been there, either being the deliberator or the impatient one waiting.
Exactly. And the impatient one finally says, Sophie, just pick something. We don't have all day. Let's cut to the chase.
A very direct request for efficiency. Stop messing around with minor details, get to the main decision.
Precisely. Skip the waffle, get to the important part. Does it mention the origin? It sounds like it could be from movies.
It does. Good intuition. It's believed to come from early filmmaking.
Ah, how so?
Directors would tell editors to literally cut the boring, slow bits and go straight to the exciting chase scene. Ah, makes perfect sense. Keep the audience hooked.
So in conversation, it means skip the preamble, get right to the key info or the main point.
And the dialogue adds some flavor.
Yeah, a funny bit about the impatient person sighing dramatically in the rental queue, having an internal monologue about needing a neck pillow. Just capturing that feeling of frustration.
Paints a picture. Okay, next. Speak of the devil.
Oh, I know this one. You say it when someone you were just talking about suddenly shows up.
Exactly right. That's the scenario. Friends are chatting, maybe gossiping a bit about Olivia being late.
And then?
Right on cue, Olivia walks in the door.
And someone says,
Speak of the devil, usually with a bit of surprise, maybe amusement.
yeah, like talking about them magically made them appear. It feels a bit uncanny sometimes.
It does. And Olivia's reaction in the dialogue is typical, too.
Yep. What's that supposed to mean? Which usually needs a quick explanation. Oh, we were just talking about you. Acknowledging the coincidence.
Right. Okay, moving on. How about bite the bullet? That sounds unpleasant.
It implies facing something unpleasant, yeah. Usually with courage or stoicism.
Okay, the example.
It involves Daniel, who is terrified of getting a dental filling, a very common fear.
Understandable.
And his friend tries to encourage him, maybe a bit bluntly. Oh, stop being dramatic and bite the bullet.
So, face the unpleasantness, endure it bravely. Where does that one come from? It sounds intense.
The origin is pretty intense. It's thought to come from surgery on battlefields back before proper anesthesia.
Wow, don't tell me.
Soldiers would literally bite down hard on a lead bullet to help them cope with the pain during operations.
Good grief, that really puts a dental filling in perspective.
Doesn't it? So the idiom carries that sense of enduring something difficult with gritted teeth, so to speak.
Daniel in the dialogue sort of gets it.
Yeah, he says something like, so be brave even if I'm scared. And the friend then uses the classic tactic of mentioning something worse, like a root canal, to make the filling seem less bad.
Huh. The it could be worse approach? Effective sometimes?
It can be. Okay, that was a strong one. Let's try something gentler. Stop and smell the roses.
Ah, that sounds lovely. Taking time to appreciate things.
Exactly that. The scenario is Elena, buried in homework, hasn't taken a break all day, very focused.
Hold there.
Her friend tells her she needs a break, advising her, you need to stop and smell the roses.
And Elena, naturally.
Asks where the roses are. Smell the roses? Where did you buy roses?
Perfect literal interpretation again. It really shows how non-obvious these are.
It does. So, stop and smell the roses is figurative advice. Take time out. Appreciate the simple, pleasant things around you. Be mindful. Enjoy the present moment.
Don't just focus on the goal, enjoy the journey type of thing.
Pretty much. The explanation clarifies. No, it means take a moment to enjoy things. Like step away from your computer and breathe. It's about balance, avoiding burnout.
So important. Okay, next idiom. Miss the boat. Sounds like a missed opportunity.
That's exactly it. The example is Chloe. She finds out about a time management workshop.
Oh, the irony.
After it's already finished.
Oops.
Her friend says, oh man, you missed the boat on that one.
And Chloe's literal question must be,
Missed the boat? What boat?
of course. So the meaning is clear. You were too late. You missed your chance to participate or benefit from something.
Right. The friend explains it wasn't a real boat, but a missed chance to learn about time management. It emphasizes acting in time to seize opportunities.
Got it. Okay, how about bite off more than you can chew?
This one feels like taking on too much responsibility or work.
Yeah, overloading yourself.
Precisely. The example is Ethan, who's juggling way too many tasks for a project and feeling totally overwhelmed.
Sounds stressful.
His friend Sarah sees this and observes, whoa, sounds like you bit off more than you can chew.
And Ethan's literal response. Does it involve food?
It does. I'm not eating anything.
Haha. Such a great visual metaphor, isn't it? Trying to stuff too much food in your mouth at once.
It really is. So the idiom means taking on more than you can realistically handle, leading to stress and maybe failure.
And Sarah offers some advice.
Yeah, sensible advice. Consider asking for help. Don't burn yourself out. It directly addresses the consequences of biting off too much. Know your limits.
Good advice indeed. Okay, next, break the ice. This is about social situations, right?
Yep. Making things less awkward or stiff when people first meet.
Getting conversation flowing.
Exactly. The scenario is Jason describing a meeting with new clients. It started out very formal, quiet, maybe a bit tense.
Boy.
His friend asks, did you try to break the ice?
And Jason's literal take. Let me guess. Something about frozen water.
You're getting good at this. Try to break the ice, you mean the ice cubes in their drinks.
Huh. Classic. So
Yeah.
the real meaning is to say or do something to make people feel more relaxed and comfortable with each other.
Right, especially at the beginning of an interaction, creating a friendlier atmosphere.
What sort of things does the dialogue suggest?
Simple stuff. Asking about their weekend, commenting on the weather, small talk, basically. But it also cautions against telling jokes right away.
Good point. A bad joke can make things more awkward. Freeze the room instead of breaking the ice.
Exactly. Risky strategy sometimes.
Okay, moving to accuracy. Hit the nail on the head.
This means you got something exactly right. Perfectly identified the issue or stated the truth.
Like a precise strike.
Precisely. The example is feedback on a presentation. One person feels something isn't quite right, something's missing.
Right.
The other person listens and then says, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly the problem.
So it strongly confirms the first person's insight. And naturally, there's a question about nails.
Of course. What does a nail have to do with this? Leading to the explanation. It's like hitting a nail perfectly with a hammer. Direct, accurate, effective.
Got it. A strong way to agree. Okay, how about money? Costs an arm and a leg.
Means something is incredibly expensive.
Very expensive. It's hyperbole, right? An exaggeration for effect.
Totally. The example is Linda showing off a fancy new coffee machine.
Must be nice.
Her friend admires it but comments, wow, that must have cost an arm and a leg.
And the literal query is about which limbs were involved.
Naturally. An arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Which ones? It's just a figure of speech, meaning it was so expensive it feels like a huge sacrifice to afford it.
And the dialogue applies it to something else expensive.
Yeah. Humorously mentions rent prices in some cities definitely costing an arm and a leg. A feeling many can relate to.
Too true. Okay, next up. A blessing in disguise.
This is for something that seems bad or unlucky at first.
Right.
But turns out to have unexpected positive consequences.
Okay, what's the example?
A broken office printer. Definitely annoying in the moment.
Definitely causes chaos.
But because the printer broke and they had to investigate,
They found something else.
they discovered a much bigger hidden problem with the really old office network, which then got replaced.
Leading to.
Much faster internet for everyone. So the annoying broken printer was actually a blessing in disguise because it led to a significant improvement.
Nice. Finding the silver lining. Does everyone agree it's a blessing, though?
Huh. The dialogue adds a wry note that not everyone thinks the new internet is actually faster. Sometimes the blessing is debatable.
Perspective matters, as always. Okay, how about take it easy? Sounds like simple advice to relax.
It is. Very common casual advice. Liam sees his colleague Clara working nonstop, looking stressed.
And tells her.
You should take it easy for a bit.
And Clara's literal question is, how does one physically take something easy?
You're anticipating perfectly now.
Yeah.
Yes, take it easy. How do you take something easy?
It just means relax, don't work so hard, don't stress out.
Exactly. The follow-up advice reinforces it. Take a proper break. Look after yourself.
Simple but important. Okay, next. Once in a blue moon.
Means very rarely. Almost never.
Right. The example is Dan getting an A+ in algebra, which is apparently unusual for him.
A rare occurrence. His friend comments, wow, an A+ day? This happens once in a blue moon, right?
Prompting the inevitable question.
What's a blue moon? Which leads to the explanation that it's just a figure of speech for something very infrequent.
Is there a connection to actual blue moons?
There is. An actual blue moon, the second full moon in a single calendar month, is relatively rare, happening only every couple of years. So the idiom borrows from that astronomical rarity.
Cool. Adds a bit more flavor than just saying rarely. Okay, what else? Keep your chin up.
Another encouraging one, similar to hang in there, but maybe more focused on staying positive, optimistic.
Right, maintaining hope. What's the scenario?
Sophia is feeling down after getting several job rejections. Understandable. Her friend Mark tries to encourage her. But keep your chin up, Sophia. You'll get through it.
And Sophia's literal interpretation, does she physically lift her chin?
She does. Keep my chin up. Like this. Highlighting again how strange these can sound if you don't know them.
So it just means stay hopeful, don't let the setbacks get you down too much, remain optimistic.
Exactly. A call for emotional resilience.
Okay, next. Cry over spilled milk.
This means there's no point worrying or getting upset about something bad that's already happened and can't be changed.
Right. What's done is done. The example.
Emma has accidentally sent the wrong file for an important project. She's obviously upset.
Oh, dear. Easy mistake to make, but stressful.
Her colleague Jake advises her, hey, Emma, don't cry over spilled milk.
And Emma immediately asks.
Did someone spill milk? Where?
Perfect. The image is key, isn't it? Spilled milk, you can't unspill it.
Exactly. So don't waste energy being upset about the irreversible mistake. Focus on what you can do now.
And Jake probably suggests fixing it.
Yep. Practical advice. Just fix the error, send the correct file, move forward.
Sensible.
Okay.
After milk. Add fuel to the fire. Sounds like making things worse.
That's exactly it. Making a bad situation even worse, usually by saying or doing something inflammatory.
Okay. What's the situation here?
Greg has presented an idea, but he's already feeling a bit insecure about it.
Okay, vulnerable moment.
And then someone else criticizes his idea really bluntly and publicly.
Ouch. That would definitely make him feel worse.
Right. So that harsh public criticism is described as adding fuel to the fire. It intensifies Greg's existing insecurity and makes the situation more negative.
Powerful image. Fire gets bigger with more fuel. Really highlights the importance of tact, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The dialogue suggests that maybe private feedback would have been much better. Public criticism can really escalate things.
Oh, sure. Okay, next is a very well-known one. Actions speak louder than words.
Meaning what you do is more important and reveals more about you than what you just say.
Right. Proof is in the pudding, sort of. The example.
Preparing for a client presentation, Hannah reminds Ryan that simply talking about how great their work isn't enough.
You need to show it.
Exactly. She says showing a sample of their actual work will be much more convincing. Demonstrating competence beats just claiming it.
Makes sense. Follow through matters more than promises.
Yeah.
Okay, how about time flies?
Oh, yeah. Time passes surprisingly quickly, usually when you're busy or having fun.
Totally. What's the example?
Rob is studying with a friend, they're engrossed, and suddenly he looks at the clock and is shocked at how late it's gotten.
Wow. Is it that time already? Time flies.
Exactly that sentiment, a very universal feeling.
It is. Okay, next one. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
This is classic advice about diversification. Don't risk everything on a single plan or opportunity.
Right. If you drop the basket, all the eggs break. What's the context?
It's general advice given when someone seems to be relying too heavily on just one solution or approach. The advice is to have backup plans.
Spread the risk. Don't concentrate everything in one place.
Precisely. Applies to investments, job searches, projects, many areas of life.
Very practical. Okay, now for a weird one. Break a leg.
Yes, it sounds awful, doesn't it? But it means good luck.
So counterintuitive. What's the example?
Lena is wishing her friend Ryan good luck before he runs a marathon.
Okay. And she says,
Break a leg, Ryan.
and Ryan is understandable.
Confused, break a leg. Why would you say that?
Yeah, it highlights how bizarre it sounds literally.
Mm-hmm.
So where does it come from? Why say something bad for good luck?
It's traditionally from the theater world. There are a few theories.
Right.
One is superstition, saying the opposite of what you want, good luck, might trick fate into granting it, like warding off bad luck by inviting it.
Okay, theatrical superstition. Any others?
Another is that a truly successful performance would lead to many curtain calls, and the actors would bow so much they might metaphorically break the line of their leg.
Okay. So success leads to breaking a leg. Fascinating. It's definitely a quirky one.
It is, and it's used outside theater now for any challenging performance or event.
Good to know. Okay, from the quirky to the impossible. When pigs fly.
Exactly. Used to say something will absolutely never happen, it's impossible.
Right. The image is key. Pigs don't fly. The example.
There's a rumor going around the office that they might start getting Fridays off.
Ooh, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
But someone is skeptical.
Very skeptical. Their reaction is simply, yeah, right, when pigs fly.
Perfect. Instantly conveys that's never going to happen. Often said humorously or sarcastically.
Definitely. Very effective. Okay, moving from impossibility to extra effort. Go the extra mile.
Means doing more than is required or expected. Making a special effort.
Precisely. Putting in that additional work to achieve a better result. The example is Chris working on a presentation.
And someone encourages him.
Yeah, encourages him to go the extra mile, add more details, find better examples, really make it shine, exceed expectations.
Right. That willingness to do more than the minimum.
Yeah.
Okay, next. On thin ice.
Ooh, sounds precarious, like you're in a dangerous or risky situation.
Yeah, it could fall through at any moment.
Exactly. It means you're in trouble or close to getting into trouble, vulnerable to negative consequences. The example is Jim.
What's Jim done? Or not done?
He hasn't finished an important report and he keeps putting it off, procrastinating.
Uh,
So his colleague warns him he's on thin ice with the boss. His position is fragile.
Got it. The image of ice about to crack is very clear. A strong warning. Okay, secrets again. Spill the beans.
Means to reveal a secret, tell something that was supposed to be confidential.
Often accidentally.
Often accidentally, yeah, like
Yeah.
letting the cat out of the bag. The example is Ryan planning a surprise party.
And he messes up.
Yep.
So-
He accidentally mentions it to the person it's for, then realizes his mistake and exclaims, "Oh no, I wasn't supposed to tell you. I spilled the beans."
Oops. The secret is out. Like beans spilling from a pot. Okay, almost there. Jump on the bandwagon.
This means joining an activity or adopting an opinion simply because it's popular or trendy, not necessarily through deep conviction.
Right. Following the crowd. What's the example?
Someone decides to sign up for a very popular new fitness challenge just because seemingly everyone else is doing it.
Ah, so they're jumping on the bandwagon. It can have a slightly negative feel sometimes, like maybe you're not thinking for yourself.
It can, yeah.
Hmm.
Suggests following trends rather than having strong personal reasons.
Okay. And the final one on our list, the tip of the iceberg.
Right. This means the small, visible part of a much larger problem or situation, most of which is hidden.
Like a real iceberg. Most of it is underwater.
Exactly. The example is discovering a minor issue in the company budget.
Just a small discrepancy.
Yeah, but someone suspects it's just the tip of the iceberg, hinting that there might be much bigger hidden financial problems underneath.
A powerful metaphor for hidden depths or complexities. Warns you not to judge by appearances.
Precisely.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of idioms we've covered, from everyday chats to specific explanations.
It really is. And hopefully going through them like this shows just how pervasive they are and how much nuance they add to English.
Absolutely. Understanding them isn't just about vocabulary, is it? It's about understanding context, culture, implication.
It really moves you beyond the literal meaning, helps you feel more in the know when you hear them.
Definitely. Hopefully this deep dive has made them feel less like a secret code and more like, well, tools you can understand and maybe even use.
So the next step for you, listening, is maybe to start noticing them more. In movies, music, conversations.
Yeah. Pay attention. See if you hear tip of the iceberg or someone advising a friend to bite the bullet.
And think about other phrases you hear often. Could they be idioms? What deeper meaning might they have?
Because understanding these nuances, it really does bridge communication gaps, doesn't it? Helps build connections.
It's more than just words, it's about shared understanding.
And think back to those first scenarios we talked about.
Right. Play it by ear. That whole tension between wanting freedom and needing structure. How different people handle uncertainty.
Or the exam stress, that feeling of your brain going to explode, and the simple reassurance behind hang in there.
And the tech updates. Why do they keep changing everything? That resistance compared maybe to the grandma's simpler flip phone. The feeling behind it's not rocket science.
And being late, how better late than never can be comforting. Or if you end up in the front row, maybe not so much. Context is key.
Getting the hang of idioms like these is just crucial for really understanding natural spoken English, especially informal chats.
It unlocks that deeper cultural meaning, too.
Yeah.
And definitely helps you sound more natural if you start using them appropriately.
Maybe try using one this week. See how it feels.
Good challenge.
Yeah.
So a final thought to leave you with. What will you notice now when you hear English being spoken? Will these idioms jump out at you more?
Yeah, think back to times maybe you felt confused by a conversation. Could knowing an idiom have unlocked the meaning for you? Reflect on those moments.
It's fascinating stuff.
Well,
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into real English talk and the world of idioms.
we really hope it's been helpful and maybe even a bit fun. If you have questions or ideas for other parts of English you'd like us to explore.
Please let us know. We're always curious about what aspects of language you're grappling with or interested in.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening.